Hi everyone, I'm Marcel back with the Pulse. Today I'm going to respond, or actually Dr. Shi is going to respond to a recent study on cardiovascular risk caused by niacin used for NAD boosting. Now there's been some concern from people out there in our community, hey, can NMN do this as well? And Dr. Shi is going to explain why niacin is a much different type of NAD booster, presenting other risks which can, according to this study, cause cardiovascular risk to increase. NMN is not the same type of NAD booster, and there are many kinds of mitigating benefits that you derive from NMN, as he explains, that offset any risks. Also, NMN and NR don't spike your NAD levels in the same manner as niacin and offer health benefits that niacin does not. Dr. Shi explains you don't want to go over 100 micromolars of NAD levels in your blood, and niacin can boost as high as 150 micromolars. So that's one reason you get into this dangerous level. But I'll let him explain this. Now, Dr. Shi has been in medical research for over 40 years, and he's received grants of over $100 million. In addition, he's tested more people's NAD levels than anyone else in the world. His laboratory, called Ginfinity Labs, has now tested over 10,000 people for NAD levels and several other biomarkers as well. So he is the de facto expert in NAD boosting, and I thought it would be great to get his response to what's going on with niacin. Why is it so much more dangerous than things like NMN or NR? I'm posting a 10-minute conversation that we had on this topic in response to the study in the Nature Journal of Medicine. And Dr. Shi can sometimes be a little hard to understand because of his thick accent, so I'll make sure to double check the subtitles if you click on CC, but I think you're going to be able to understand and follow his points on niacin and on NMN. So here's the unedited conversation I had in response to the cardiovascular risks of niacin.
So NAD is broken down into smaller pieces. The most important metabolite from NAD is nicotinamide. Okay? And nicotinamide can be broken down further. And it has two terminal metabolites. One is called 2-PY, and another one is called 4-PY. It's a very long name. I'm not going to say it. And I actually have my screen open here if you want to know. Let's don't worry about the long name. Very, very long. So that's the immediate NAD metabolome, if you want, the collection of metabolites. Now, what this paper published in Nature Medicine has found is that 2-PY and 4-PY are associated with higher cardiovascular risk. All right, you follow me?
I'm doing the best I can. I'm getting better at this every time, but I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah. So the implication is the right interpretation of the paper is niacin is potentially a harmful supplement for health, especially for cardiovascular disease, if taken at high doses. You and many of your listeners probably know that niacin is actually a drug, in addition to being a supplement, and that's used to reduce cholesterol level, especially LDL. And you have to take high doses of niacin to reduce LDL. And however, niacin has been shown that even though it can reduce LDL, but it does not reduce cardiovascular risk. In some studies, it actually increased death by taking high doses of niacin. So the main conclusion of the paper is that taking high doses of niacin is not good for cardiovascular risk, and it does not provide any benefit, but it's actually harmful. And the potential mechanism is related, could be related to the NAD metabolites, the 2-py and 4-py.
Okay.
So all this is good. That conclusion is correct. What has been circulating now in the media and by some experts like David Sinclair as well is saying that we do not want to take too much NMN or NR to increase NAD. And that's where is the problem. So the problem is in many different fronts. So now, why niacin is bad for cardiovascular diseases, even though it can reduce LDL? And the potential reason is that it can increase the nicotinamide metabolites, 2-py and 4-py. So we also know high doses of niacin can increase the NAD level to a very, very high level, much beyond what I would recommend.
Now past the
We,
level.
yeah, we talk about in the past that the optimum range that we have defined for NAD is between 40 and 100 micromolar. And we do not want anyone to go above and beyond 100 micromolar. In many individuals who are taking high doses of niacin, we see NAD levels above 150 micromolar. So the increased cardiovascular risk is due to the high doses of niacin and this increase in the NAD level way beyond what we would normally recommend and where most NMN or NR users can achieve.
What does niacin do to the other, not to stop your flow there, but what does niacin do to the other biomarkers? It raises NAD quite a bit. What about oxidative stress, inflammation?
So niacin is bad for cardiovascular health because potentially many reasons. The number one reason is that niacin is a very potent inducer of an enzyme called HO1, heme oxygenase 1. So HO1 and break down heme proteins and produce large amounts of CO, carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide is the major risk factor for cardiovascular disease. That's the primary reason why niacin can be bad for us and increase cardiovascular issues. Obviously, it can also have other potential harmful mechanism like increasing the NAD levels way too high and elevate the NAD metabolites in the form of 2-py and 4-py that were found in this new paper. So the paper, the conclusion from the paper is actually correct. It's a very well done study, but the interpretation now by some so-called experts who do not understand what effects and what data on this topic. And because the NAD metabolites may be a associated with higher cardiovascular events. They are concluding that we should not increase our NAD level by NMN or NR. That's where it's totally wrong.
So they're taking a leap beyond.
They are taking a study on niacin and then just deducing conclusions that are not relevant to what's going on with NMN and NR supplementation. So in the tens of thousands of customers we have tested, the NAD level that we see is usually between 40 and 70 micromolar. Only occasionally the NAD level goes up above 100 micromolar. If they do, I counsel them to bring the dosage down to stay within 100 micromolar. In contrary, niacin users can get their NAD level to over 100 and very often around 150 micromolar. Even though their NAD levels are very high, they do not seem to get the benefits from increased NAD levels. And now from this paper, we partially understand why.